What up, everybody? It's your boy Gaming Forte back at it with another video. So I wanted to talk to you guys about a conversation that was being had on the BGST Podcast. I was listening to that. They were talking about how Microsoft is actually having conversations with their developers about how they want them to make their games. So you had Halo that was being made by Bungie. You had Epic, who was making Gears of War. And those developers were really tied to just those IPs and really didn't have any options for what we see because we don't know behind the curtain to make other games. So there was really just a back and forth conversation about if it's good for Microsoft to have those developers only making one IP versus having them branch out and make other IPs. And that's what I really want to talk about in this video today. Now, the conversation really started by just talking about how PlayStation has Guerrilla Games, who made Horizon Zero Dawn, which is one of the best games that came out last year. You also have Naughty Dog, who makes the Uncharted franchise and also branched out to make Last of Us, and now they have a Last of Us Part 2 getting ready to come out. And when you think about those developers, that didn't happen overnight. Now, when it comes to Microsoft, they had the Golden Goose in Halo. They had Bungie. Bungie was making awesome games. And Bungie was tired of making Halo games after 3 of them, and they wanted to make something different. Now, a lot of people point to Destiny and say that should have been an Xbox exclusive. And part of me says, yeah, you're absolutely right. But the thing about that is Microsoft was never going to greenlit that game because that game has way too many similarities to Halo, and there's no reason to compete against your own IP. Now, I can actually understand what Microsoft was actually talking about back in 2008 because Bungie was a small studio. They only had 120 employees working for them, and it would have been really hard to basically split time between Destiny, which is the IP they didn't announce yet, and Halo, which ended up being Halo 3 ODST and Halo Reach. So Microsoft basically looked at it like, well, you can't work on 2 things and do them well because you're not big enough, so we really just want you to concentrate on this. Now, we don't know after Bungie had probably made these last 2 Halo games, if everything would have stayed perfectly fine between them, that this couldn't have happened organically later on down the line. But Bungie really saw the writing on the wall, and they saw that their creative freedom was being taken away from them. So that's why they struck the deal with Microsoft to make 2 more Halo games and to buy out their independence so they can go off and make the next game they want to make in their journey, which ended up being Destiny. Now, fast forward to current day, Bungie is making Destiny. We have 343 making Halo. And 343 is a studio with over 450 people as of 2016. And that is a lot of people that are working on an IP. But then this is where the question came up about 343 not making any other games but Halo games. And I definitely agree with Crap Gamer on this because he really understands that Microsoft needs Halo. They need Gears of War. They need Forza. What happens if Turn 10 didn't make a Forza game? Or Playground doesn't make a Forza game? What happens if the Coalition wants to start making other games? I'm not saying that it has to always be that way, but normally you want to always cash in with the games you have. And these 3 franchises sell a lot of games. Now, the counter argument to that is the fact that Sony has 2 developers that made very, very good original IPs, and now they have 2 successful new IPs that stemmed from that. And it was because Sony took chances to let those developers make those games, and now they have 2 more franchises to fall back on. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you that Uncharted 3 wasn't as good as it could have been because half the team was working on Last of Us, the other half was working on Uncharted 3, and that's why there was a little bit of downslope when it came to the reception of Uncharted 3. Now, when it comes to Guerrilla Games, they did something a little different. After they made Killzone Shadowfall, they went into a 3-year development cycle for Horizon Zero Dawn. All of their eggs went into that game. Sony supported it 100%. And we don't know if this is going to turn into a franchise or not. We don't know what is going to come from this game. But we do know that it had a very successful outing. It looks like it does have a lot of weight to stand on because a lot of people are definitely looking forward to the DLC that's coming out this November 7th, which happens to be the same day as the Xbox One. So I don't really know what Sony was thinking on that. But a lot of people are probably reading too much into that. But at least they have another IP to fall back on. And then they can always go back and make another Killzone if they want to. Now, I know this was a long history lesson on how developers ended up where they are now, how Bungie ended up where they are, how Naughty Dog got to where they are, and what a lot of people think 343 needs to do going forward. But ultimately, what it really comes down to is Microsoft just needs to get more developers in-house. I don't think 343 should really spin off and make something different until they completely home in on what makes Halo Halo. They still haven't hit that magic sauce. Halo's a good game, but they still haven't captured what that single player meant that Bungie gave us in all those original Halos. And that's the one thing that they have to nail before I feel like they can officially move on to a different project. Now, only time will tell. Phil Spencer talked about it at E3 about how he inked some new deals and how those games weren't ready to be shown. He didn't want to throw a trailer out because he didn't want to show games far out. That's one thing I think needs to change in their thinking, because you want to get people super hyped for the things that are coming versus the things that you don't even know about. I will always err on the side of knowing somewhat of the future and somewhat of the roadmap than not knowing anything at all. And if you have to show me something from 3 years out to actually get me hyped for it, that's something that I want to know. Unfortunately, Scalebound did get canceled, and I know that's the reason they feel a little gun shy on a lot of stuff, but I'm happy to know that that game was being in development versus not knowing it was coming at all. It just sucks that it got canceled. And the biggest thing they need to take away from this is you just need to make sure that that quality control stays in line and we don't let games get that far into development that we have to cancel them. So you just need to build that portfolio, get more developers in your in-house studio, and actually just start making these games. And that's something that if Microsoft does that, we can have the best of both worlds when it comes to this system, because I honestly believe Microsoft can do it. Guys, what do you think? How do you think Microsoft should handle this type of relationship when it comes to their own developers about making games and spinning them off to make other things? Let's talk about that in the comment section below. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you sub to the channel if you haven't. Turn on those notifications. It's gonna let you know the next time my video goes live. It's your boy Gaming Forte. I'll talk to you guys in the next video, and have a good week. Peace.